one of the most recurring themes of all the videos I've made for myself over the years, besides the one where I talk about how I don't concentrate very well, has been, oh, I should do this, and then I never do it, or I just half-ass it. It's happened often enough that it's kind of become a little bit of an inside joke to me. So here we go. In late 2019, I took it upon myself to map out my banks, my firm speed banks. You guys have probably, well, maybe you've seen the videos that I put out there. They were the result of all the work that I did to map out my firm speed banks. And the work leading up to that. All of that I did, that started out as, oh, I should do this. Hell, probably for a decade. I should map out my banks. And then I finally did it. And it really, really paid off. It really paid off. I've said before, maybe not on YouTube, but in 2020, the Derby City Classic, I had my best bank pool performance that I've ever had. I don't think I finished as high as I've finished before, but just how well I was banking, you know, it definitely paid off. All those shots where I was like a little bit iffy, well, maybe this will go in. It wasn't quite guessing, but I didn't have that much confidence. Whereas after I'd mapped out all that stuff, I knew damn well that hitting on a certain line between certain 2 points, whatever, would absolutely make the ball. If not every time, then a lot of the times. So I would have a lot more confidence instead of, this looks right, let's see if it goes. That was kind of my method before. This looks right, let's see if it goes. I got to add that extra component of, yeah, then not only does this look right, but I know it goes a lot of the time. And so now I'm going to shoot it with some extra confidence. I don't know if this ball will go in, honestly. So I'm going to do that again with something else. I should do this again, do something again with something else. And that thing for me is, I think I have to get some conscious thought to categorizing shots as far as how difficult they are. Whether it's a 100% make, you know, a 10% make, somewhere in between. Because that has all changed for me. And I think what do you want? I think my big fat head is not willing to accept the fact that it's changed. Back when I was a young man, and especially playing on bar boxes, the only time I shot was hard at all was if there wasn't very much room, or if it was a bank or a kick, or the cue ball stuck to the rail. There was something wrong with it, something unusual about the shot. Distance was never an issue for me, and even a really thin cut was almost never an issue for me. Now that I'm old, I guess with, in theory, being old and wise, now I've got, that was a good shot, now I've got crappy eyes and all that stuff. Shots with distance are tough for me. Shots that are a really thin cut, especially those with distance, are tough for me. Nothing is as easy as it used to be, because all the stuff that used to be hard is still kind of hard. So I think what I should do, instead of my subconscious going, oh, I remember how to make this 8, that's a duck. I need to categorize that in my head to remind my subconscious self, you know what, that's not that easy of a shot, Dave. In 1990, sure, it was a duck. But here anymore, you might miss that 2 out of 10 times, let's say, on that 8 ball. You might miss it 3 out of 10 times. And that's what I think I should try to get in the habit of doing, is kind of announcing, internally. I'm not going to speak it out loud when I'm at a tournament or whatever, but say, just take a little bit of self-evaluation. I think I know my own game and limitations pretty well, and put that to use. You go, you know what? Can I make the 7 and draw back to this rail with a 15 in the same pocket? I can. Can I do it every time? No. I just have to be honest with myself about that. I cannot do it every time. And whether that means I have to be a little bit more careful with it, or, in some extreme cases, maybe I need to shoot something else. It's going to depend. The game situation and how difficult the shot is and things like that. In this case, it's just be a little bit more careful with it. Make sure that see, did I mention that I can't make that shot every time? I didn't do that on purpose, it just happened. What I was trying to say was, be a little bit more careful with it. Make sure I cut that 7 enough, because these pockets are a lot smaller than what, my subconscious, I guess, is still used to big giant bar pockets, I guess. They didn't have any English on that shot, so there was no squirt involved. So, try it again. Just make sure I cut that all enough. Come over. Almost scratched. Maybe that was why I missed it the first time. My subconscious was making damn sure I didn't scratch. I don't know. I think this is the kind of thing that could help me. Maybe not quite as much as mapping out my bank shelf to me, but it could help me nonetheless. And it's another one of those things that once I get it, it could help me for the rest of my life. That's what I had to do with the mapping of my banks to get myself to do it. What I convinced myself was, once I did it, once I knew that the 70 to 28 was a good bank in this corner, once I knew that, I didn't ever have to do it again, and I never had to guess again. If I had balls on that line, I knew that would go. And I think if I get in the habit of just realizing what is the true difficulty of a shot for me in 2021, very soon to be 2022, I think that's good. And after a while, I'm hoping that if my inner pool player still thinks it's 1990 and still thinks everything is easy, that's great. But I think I need to give him a little bit of a wake-up call, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. I should do is get my inner pool player to think more about the present day. The fact that a lot of these shots, while they used to be ducks, a lot of these shots are downright difficult shots, or at least more difficult than they used to be. I think this is a good idea, and I think I should do it. Whether or not I will, I don't know. I'm not really thrilled with the idea of jumping into a project like that with less than a month to go before Derby City. Remember when I did the mapping out of the banks, I started 2-3 months ahead of time. In this case, though, it's been frustrating enough for me to feel like I'm doing a really good job of giving the shots over to my inner pool player and then missing the shots. That's been really frustrating for me. And I think a part of the reason that that's happening could be my inner pool player is not used to having these eyesight limitations that I have now, the different variables of LASIK and stuff like that. He's not used to that stuff. Didn't have it back then. And then whatever else you might have, stamina and all those other things that might have changed between 1990 and now. It'd be a lot. That's what I should do. I should go and just make a little mental internal note to myself on every shot. And I don't know if I'm talking about it like a easy, medium, hard, or 90% make versus a 10% make. I haven't decided that yet, but I think instead of flat out labeling the shots, I just have to realize, where is this? Is this 4-ball bank 100% make for me? Absolutely not. Is it 50% make? Yeah, I would say yeah. Okay, is it 60% make? Yeah. Is it 70% make? I don't think so. So let's say 65% make. And I can speed up that process as I shoot. Just say, you know what? This is 65% make. Don't take it for granted. It means I can make it, but I have to be careful about it. And then we just, repeat as things go. I think they found a mouse. I think they've got a mouse cornered somewhere. Or one of them has a mouse corner and the other one is trying to see what is going on. Something like that. 100% make on this tree. Doesn't mean I'm going to make it 100% of the time, but I certainly have other things to worry about in my life, that whether or not I can put that 3 in. 100% make on this 15. Drawing back to bank the 4 next, still 100%. Might not get the perfect angle to bank the 4, but I have an angle. Now this guy here is probably only like a 30% for me to bank this all the way back here. If both balls were up here, it'd be easier. But this is a little bit tough for me. And on this kind of shot, there's a scratch in this corner that has been there since the beginning of time. But I keep getting it, and I worry about that sometimes. So I start trying to manipulate my English and stuff to avoid that scratch, when I don't really know what type of manipulation is needed. I just kind of know, okay, if I put a little bit of top left on the shot, I often scratch. So it's essentially anything but that. And eventually my subconscious will figure out, in theory, that was close, in theory, how to make the shot. This is all theoretical. Every bit of it's theoretical. I'm going to say this 2 is only about an 80% make, because I might not clear the 7 ball. If I clear the 7, I'm going to make, I'm going to make the 4. But I might not clear the 7. And that's what like every other damn video I make, I'm mainly just thinking out loud and trying to find some ways that I can improve, both mentally or physically or both, whatever. And that's all I'm doing right now. It is the 28th of December, if you can believe that shit. And I can't quite believe that shit. It's my 2nd week of vacation, during which I'm working every day. But it's either use the vacation or lose the hours at the end of the year, and I don't want to do that. So I get to sleep a little bit later. That's what vacation means for me this year. And I will talk to you later.